Hi girls! So, if you are watching this video, that means that you probably want some help finding your feminine voice, and I am here to do that for you today. So, I'm Sophia, and this is how we're going to help find your feminine voice. So, first of all, I'm going to break this up into a couple sections. First section is just going to be kind of differentiating what makes a male and a female voice different. And the mechanics of what we're going to do in the following part. The second part is going to be a set of exercises, and I'll leave a link in the description so that you can just click to that if you just want to go through the exercises with me and skip the beginning part. So, first of all, make sure you're hydrated for this because it's going to put a lot of strain on your vocal cords in your throat. So, the two distinctions between a male and a female voice is typically the pitch and the resonance. The more important of these two is actually the resonance, because at 120 hertz, the female voice is above that wavelength. Male voice is below that wavelength, and this is where you start to differentiate in terms of pitch, what sounds feminine and what sounds masculine. The second part of that, though, is the resonance, and this is very important. So, men typically resonate in their chest. This gives the voice a very full sound, right? Very full, very deep, because the resonance is basically how the sound waves that you're making reverberate through your body. Women typically resonate in their mouth. So, when we speak, what we want to do is we want our voice not to be down here or here. We want it to come out our mouth. So you want to project your voice out your mouth. Okay? Let's see. Oh, another distinction, but this is, I think, more just like, I'm not sure if this is societal or whatever, but like, typically men will inflect with volume, right? So emphasis becomes louder, but it's the same pitch. It's monotone, but it's louder. Whereas women typically inflect with... Oh, no, I'm sorry, men inflect with volume, not pitch. I take that back, okay. So, men typically inflect with pitch. Men typically inflect with volume. So, when they want to inflect something or emphasize something, it's the same pitch, just they get louder, right? Whereas women, when we want to inflect in our voices, we use pitch. So, hi. Hi. Like, there's a distinct difference there, right? And one's happy and bubbly, and the other's kind of cold and bitchy, right? But you can tell, but the difference that you're making there is with your pitch, and it's not necessarily louder or softer. That doesn't preclude you from being louder or softer, but just remember that when you're speaking, the less monotone you are, and the more varied you are with your pitch, the more feminine your voice will sound. Okay. All right. So, some mechanics. Now, this is very important. So, what I want you to do: place your hand right here on your Adam's apple, and I want you to swallow. Okay. So you should be able to feel your Adam's apple kind of roll up. Alright, and so that's actually what we want to do that's one of the first things we want to do, is we want to roll our Adam's apple up. And if you practice this enough, it becomes very, very natural over time. So, you want to roll up. You don't have to swallow, but you kind of want to imitate that, like that initial movement with your throat where you kind of feel the... roll up, roll up, like that, okay? So that's just something that you can practice, and you'll know if you're doing it right because you'll have your hand here, and you'll feel it kind of roll as you practice this. And you may not notice a big movement right now, but it's one of those things that as you practice it, you'll get more used to it, and it'll become more natural over time. Secondly, the other thing that affects our resonance is going to be how the air actually flows through our body, right? So how it flows through the vocal cords, the larynx, even through your nose, will affect its sound. So Typically what you want to do is you want to try to constrict. You want to tighten everything. Because if you tighten everything, it's going to narrow the passageway that the air can travel through, and it's going to result in a higher pitch, and your voice is going to resonate more as it comes out your mouth. The other thing you may want to do is try to constrict your nasal cavity to a certain point to where, not to where you talk like this, where you have no airflow, but to where you're not, but to where your sinus isn't completely open, so that you're not projecting out your nose. And I have a large nose, so I know all about this. And again, these skills all take time, but as long as you're making a conscious effort and practicing them every day, you'll get better over time, I promise. So, let's move on to some exercises. So, similarly to how we're rolling our Adam's apple up, you're going to do that throughout these exercises. You're going to want to do them in not the highest pitch you can, but you're going to want to do it in a pitch that is closer to where you want to end, to where like your goal is. You want to do this in a pitch where you want your baseline to be. So this is going to sound probably awkward at first, very awkward, and it's going to sound very difficult, and you're probably going to hate it, but that's okay. This happens, like, unless you're just naturally gifted, this is going to happen to everybody. If you're a singer, good for you. You probably don't need this video. Why are you watching this video? But for the normal people like us, it's important that you practice, because if you put the time in, it'll get better. I promise. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close our mouth, and we're going to go, and you want to just make an N sound. And we're going to do this 5 times as a warm-up. So, secondly, we're going to do the same exercise, except instead of just being monotone, we're going to vary our pitch. So you may want to start a little bit lower than you did for the previous exercise, because we're going to start low, and we're going to go high, and then we're going to go back down. And we're going to do the same exercise 5 times. So, okay, so next, same exercise, except instead of going up and down, we're going to go soft to loud, and then back to soft. So, mouth closed, and we're going to start quiet. Start quiet and soft and quiet as you can. And now for the last set of exercises, what we're going to do, we're going to start with our mouth closed. I'm going to start the same way, except we're going to make every vowel sound. And so we're going to do each vowel sound gets 5 repetitions, just like we just did. So we're going to start with the mouth closed, and we're going to start with the letter A. So we're going to start saying, it's going to sound like ma, alright? But we're going to hold the and then we're gonna slowly open into the ah sound. So we're gonna it'll be like this. It'll be ah, and we're gonna do this 5 times. All right. So here we go. We're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to go with E. Don't forget to drink your water. So, ready? Here we go. Alright, 2 more letters to go. Next we're going to do O, but we're going to make the O sound, not oo. We're going to say O. Yeah, we're going to say O. Okay, so, ready? Here we go. And last, we're going to say the letter U, but we're going to go So instead of, we're not going to say mew, it's going to go ma. So it's a lot like ma, but it's a little bit different shape with the mouth. That's all. I just forgot to mention, if at any point, like, you start to feel your throat a little sore, that's okay, because you're exercising muscles that you're not normally used to exercising, and this is perfectly normal. This is what happens in muscle growth. It's like when you go to the gym, you lift weights, you strain your muscles, you get, DOMS the next day, delayed onset muscle soreness. It's the same concept. You're training muscles that you're not used to training. So it's going to take some time for them to acclimate and get stronger so that you can use them. Alright, last one, we're going to do ma, and we're going to do 5 of those, okay? Here we go. Ma, Alright, very good. So, these exercises will help you to develop the muscle control that you need in order to find your feminine voice. If you're a singer, or you have, like, good, like, pitch awareness, you can probably do some singing exercises, like do, re, mi. I'm not a singer, so I'm not going to do it, because my singing sucks. But that's just one more consideration to make of ways you can practice. Another thing that I would do is after you start to get a little bit more comfortable with these exercises, would just be to like read out loud. Like find a book or just an article or a Reddit thread or whatever and read it out loud. And as you read, it's not so much about the content, it's more about you're training your voice, right? So even if it's something you want to read, be very aware. What am I doing with my throat? What am I doing with my mouth? How am I projecting my voice? Where's my voice resonating? Things like that. So the other thing I would advise you to do is to record yourself for two reasons. Number one, you'll kind of be able to see like what sounds good and what doesn't, and so you can make adjustments on what doesn't sound as good and what you'd like to improve. There's going to be a very, very awkward phase. There's going to be a very awkward phase where it's going to sound really weird and you're not going to know why. You're just going to be like, why does my voice sound so ugh? And one of the reasons for that, like I said, is because this is all new. This is not your muscles aren't used to this. So you have to practice and you have to train the muscles to do what you want them to do. And after a while, you'll start to hear it, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great!" And it's a really, really like fulfilling thing to complete this. Let's see, anything else? But yeah, so that's about it. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the video. I'll try to answer. I'm not really like a voice expert or anything like that. I'm just some trans girl who figured all this shit out on her own. So. I shouldn't have figured out. I watched a video, but the video is no longer on the internet, so I had to make my own videos so that I can share it forward with all of you. So, I believe in you. I have faith, and it's really important. I really think it's really important for you to find your voice because you're really gonna like how that sounds and how it makes you feel. So, I believe in you. Good luck. So, one thing I forgot to add is that I want to share my progress with you. My journey's not complete either. But if I can do it, so can you.
Because my voice started down here. I spoke like this for 29 years of my life, without deviation.
And then it all changed one day. I believe in you. You got this.